The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is a German 1920 silent horror film directed by Robert Wien, and paved the way for the genre of horror for generations to come. The story starts with two pasty gits sitting on a park bench minding their own business. They're feeling pretty sorry for themselves, and we quickly see why. The younger bloke is completely blanked by his seemingly catatonic fiancée, proper rude by the way, and then starts reminiscing about how his life used to be, before a bizarre set of events set it spiraling out of control. The young man, known as Francis, is persuaded to visit the town fair by his excitable best pal, Alan. Wait, who's this sour old asshole wandering the streets? Why, it's Dr. Caligari, and by the looks of things, he's put his shoes on the wrong feet again. This doddering old twat has his toothpaste smeared in his hair again too. Oh well, boys will be boys. Where was I? Oh yes, the fair. There's a monkey that hates little people, and some guy with bird shit all over his hat. Come on mate, it's a special occasion, have some self-respect. And who's this crusty old codger? Ah yes, Dr. Caligari. Loving the bell skills buddy. His show at the fair will feature a somnambulist, whatever the hell that means. Francis and Alan finally make it to all the festivities, and decide to take a butcher's at old Caligari's performance. He reveals a coffin that contains Cesare the somnambulist, which basically means this lazy bastard has been asleep, day and night, for the past 22 years. Only Caligari knows how to wake the work-shy asshole, and the doc also reveals that old sleepyhead, Cesare, is also a bit of a know-it-all when it comes to answering questions. He knows the answers to your secrets, yes, even those ones. He knows what's lurking in your sock drawer, and about all the jazz mags you have hidden under your bed. He's a proper nosy Parker. He knows the past, the future, you get the picture. Next, Caligari invites the audience to test Cesare's unique gift, by asking the somnambulist any question. Of course, old silly bollocks Alan plucks up the courage, and asks the bedridden bastard how long he has to live. Till the break of dawn, replies the somnambulist, much to the boys' bemusement, and they bugger off before things get any stranger. That night, they spy a poster mentioning a murderer on the loose, but they're not worried for long. These two sleazy sauce pots are easily distracted, and chat up some lass who just so happens to be out for a nighttime stroll. Turns out these two dipshits are involved in somewhat of a love triangle with her, but they're friends. They won't fight for her affections, they'll let her decide, and whatever the outcome, they promise to remain best buds. Soon afterwards, Alan is awoken from his slumber, and is killed by an unknown man. The somnambulist was right. But who killed Alan? The next morning, Francis hears the news and is distraught, but let's face it, with Alan out the way, it means he can get his leg over. He visits the scene of the crime, and vows to get to the bottom of his friend's murder, even if it's the last thing he does. So there we have it. A man on a mission mourning the death of his bosom buddy, a twisted old doctor with a spooky accomplice, and a murderer on the loose in the pointiest town ever drawn. Will Francis avenge the death of his friend? Was the murderer responsible for Alan's demise? Or is there something more sinister going on with the constipated doctor and his ominous homeboy? Firstly, let's talk about the brilliant aesthetics of this German expressionist classic. The set design is the brain baby of Hermann Worm, Walter Reimann, and Walter Röhrig. Originally the set had been natural and boring, but in an attempt to make the movie appear unique, they opted for a fantastic, dreamlike set that twisted and pointed at unusual angles. This dark and unsettling visual style was intended to match the dark and unsettling themes of the movie. Insanity and sanity, freedom and authority, asleep or awake. Reality or dream. This film has an eerie look about it, that perfectly matches its ominous, and often inspiring soundtrack. It's hard to put into words the significance of this movie from a historical stance, but its influence speaks for itself. Not only did it kickstart the German expressionist movement and the horror genre, but movies like Nosferatu and Metropolis may not have looked the way they did, had Dr. Caligari not been made. Though American director Tim Burton claims he did not view this movie until after he had created much of his iconic films, it's easy to see how the creations of Herman Worm, Walter Ryman, and Walter Roehrig left their mark on the world of cinema. You absolutely must see The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and I don't believe you can truly call yourself a horror fan until you see where it all began. The plot twists and turns, marvels and delights, and completely sucked me into its world. All in all, a jolly good time to be had. Watch it as soon as you can. That's all from me, HP, the Horror Bot. I'll see you on the next video. Cheers babes.